Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Did you know that our brain uses the same amount of power as a 10-watt light bulb? Maybe that's where they got the terminology dim bulb from. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Come on, call in. Good morning, great day. Oh, there we go on a Wednesday, March 15th. Good morning to you. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, don't forget some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them, get on the route service at 734-6969. Now, we head over to the main studios, and here is our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Are you the man?
I am this morning. I'd love to do the pledge.
All right, go ahead, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very well done. Thank you, my dear friend. And right now, without further ado, let's take a listen to what's going on in the weather. Good morning.
It's a beautiful day, and we expect spring-like conditions throughout the rest of the week and into the weekend. We are still in that flood watch as well. That has been extended. We are looking at partly cloudy skies for today. Gorgeous. High of 70 for today. Tonight, partly cloudy to a low of 50. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies. Winds are going to be picking up, high of 58. Everything calming down for Thursday night with a low of 37. Partly cloudy, 67 for Friday, and looks like partly to mostly sunny skies, and 70 for Saturday. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I love it. Thank you, Gina. Very well done. Hey, guess where we're going to be tomorrow? Tomorrow, come heck or high water, we're going to be at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, for Zeb's Lunch Bunch. We haven't met for so long. I'm going to go around, shake hands, say hello. What's your name? Anyway, we're going to meet together tomorrow at 11:30 at America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. Oh, and have a delicious lunch, or it might be a breakfast. It might be a pancake breakfast, or it might be a sizzling skillet meal. Oh, the food, the menu choices are fantastic, so you be sure and be there at Denny's Restaurant. You can go anytime, all the time for breakfast, lunch, and dinner to Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, and they've got another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls, America's Diner. And by the way, our thanks go out for our gift certificates. We want to say thank you to Smith's Food, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes, and Doug Martin. Thank you very, very much. Our donors for our lunch bunch. Appreciate it. By the way, you heard 70 degrees. 70 degrees. We're inching up there. Things are starting to look pretty good right now. And Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. And they've got all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. That's right. There's the spot. There is the place, Ramsey Heating and Electric. And as we draw closer to the cooling season, you better jump on it, get ahead, be ready with your air conditioners and everything by calling them at 678-0459 and stop in. 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They're open 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Okay, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call on the landline. You know, this morning, I want to take some time, and I want to talk about absolutely, this is how I believe. If you don't believe it, that's fine. We are becoming, and we are almost there, a nation of wussies and wannabes. Some of the stories that I have learned about and heard about and read about and studied about over the last 48 hours absolutely are sickening. And in California, I've got this right in front of me right now. Excuse me for choking. In California, now some schools, especially this Folsom, California elementary school, is banning the game tag You're It. Yeah. They say, oh, no, someone might get hurt with the physical contact. Oh, no, we can't have anybody trip and fall. Oh, no, our little buttercups might skin their knees. We can't have anybody getting injured. Wait a minute. If it's at recess time, and they're supposedly supervised at recess time, and games might get a little rough or a little pushy or a little shovey, why don't the monitors, the teachers, kind of pull those kids aside and say, hey, listen here, partner, you're getting a little rough out there. You do that again, and you're going to have to stay after school or some other admonishment or punishment. But oh no, in our nation of wussies, it's a lot easier to just quit. Many schools, and you know this is factual, many schools across the United States have told the kids at recess that they can go outside and stand still. Whoopee! Boy, I'm telling you, after being in the classroom all morning or all afternoon, and they've got pent-up energy, kids are kids, and you're telling them, yes, go outside and enjoy recess, but stand still. This is insane. This is absolutely insane that we're telling these kids, these little buttercups, that they can't do anything, they can't go anywhere, it's just a nation of wussies. Tough up, man up, and if you think that's sexist, I couldn't care less. Man up and grow up, for heaven's sakes. Who, as an employer, not that many years down the road from when they're in elementary school, who, as an employer, would ever want to hire these spineless little snowflakes to work for them? I cut my finger with a piece of paper. I got to go home for 3 weeks. This is crazy. And like today's atmosphere, the coaches in athletics, you know, they're really under scrutiny. Now, I'm not saying that all coaches and tactics and everything else are 100%. Yep, that's the way it should be. I'm not saying that. But there are many, many instances when coaches yell at Johnny or Susie for a play that is not very smart and boneheaded or whatever. Oh, the parents, they just stand up and they're just irate. Well, how dare that coach yell at my little buttercup out there, my goodness sakes. And if things are too hard on the athletic field, be it football or be it any sport that they have to practice and train and get their bodies in shape for, well, the exercises are too hard, too strenuous, no. We have to make them easier for little Johnny and Susie. Or here's another instance as to where our world's going. If a person has a son or daughter that has about 0% talent to be on a specific team, like baseball, and somebody throws them the baseball and they get hit right smack dab in the face, gee, maybe they can't catch a doggone thing. They're not very coordinated. Maybe they can't make the team. But if they get cut from the team, oh, and you know this is true because it's happened. Boo-hoo, the parents say, I'll sue. This is insanity. We are raising, and it's gone way too far, a generation now that's taking over of spineless little snowflakes. I'm a little snowflake. Do. Oh, this is crazy. Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And I'm not done with this story because I've got another story that kind of links arms with this idiocy, and I'll talk about that in a minute, so give me a call. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts. They have all the equipment to get the job done right. Absolutely. Jerome on South Lincoln, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. And they've got the Walker mowers, 0% interest for 48 months. Woo, baby, use what the pros use to mow everything that needs mowing. They've got all the equipment rentals, all the Bobcat excavators, all the retail equipment sales, everything at Barry Equipment and Rental. In Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Wheels, jump on just for a second, would you, if you wouldn't mind?
Yes, sir.
You're going to laugh at this, but I'm going to ask you to just barely touch it, but turn down the feed to me just a minor skosh, okay, which is below a tad.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. For some reason, I'm really got a hot key here this morning, so if you can, we'll work with it during the news, too.
Okay.
Anyway, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, with all the physical therapists over there, Nick Greenwell and the whole crew. These people are sharp. These people know exercises. These people know how to help you get back to being and feeling like yourself. Oh, my goodness, and they got that hydrotherapy pool, too. I love that hydrotherapy pool. I put a lot of miles on in the bottom of that pool. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Call them today for an appointment, 678-1191. That number again, 678-1191. They're waiting for your call at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. What do you think about this? I mean, honestly, this is really, really going to cause problems in the future. These kids are not tough. The minute somebody gets knocked down, the minute somebody skins their knee, the minute somebody gets a little bruise on their elbow, oh boy, and we can't have that anymore. I honestly think, and I heard another commentator, this is not from me, I got to give credit to where I heard this. I heard this morning from a commentator that made the statement that, we're going to the extent right now in this country to where even playing musical chairs could possibly be banned because it's, too rough. Why, someone might get hurt trying to run for that chair. Oh, my goodness, we got to stop this activity. Just go stand. Just go stand there. Don't move. Come on, parents, what are your thoughts about this? I know we have some of those bleeding heart liberals right here in this area. Oh, yeah. Oh, we can't have little Johnny and Susie get hurt. Oh, no. Look out. Put a Band-Aid on and then sue. This is ridiculous. And I'm going to tell you about what's going on at the University of Minnesota. Back in my former school area and everything, you won't believe this next story, so stay tuned. Scott Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 438-2485. Oh, my goodness sakes, they say now is the time for getting your fruit trees trimmed. All the trimming needs to be done right now. Trees and shrubs, and my goodness, the winds this spring and everything, they really wreaked havoc on them. And it's also time to make sure that you get your sprinkler repairs and maybe talk about putting in a sprinkler system. Better do it now. Call Scott Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 438-2485. He is waiting, I can tell right now, anxiously to answer your call. Give him a call. I'm surprised that somebody hasn't called in yet on these little bitty cream puffs. Why, Johnny and Susie. Well, now listen to this. This is another nail in the coffin of what's wrong with America. The University of Minnesota has become the latest university to do away with the traditional homecoming king and queen titles. Now they're going to call them gender-neutral royals. And here come the royals for 2017. But wait a minute. They're going to go even a little step further. University of Minnesota officials point out that the winners of the used-to-be king and queen for the homecoming title now do not have to be a biological male or a biological female, stating that these people can be of any gender identity. Oh, brother. This is so sick and perverted. Campus officials called the change a move towards gender inclusivity that promotes a spirit of inclusion at the University of Minnesota. And you know what? It also goes to the runner-ups. You could end up with, honestly, 10 guys standing up there. Here's the king, here's the queen, here's the first princess, and it could be all guys. Honestly, it says this in the press release. And all the students will be crowned as royals. Isn't that sweet? Oh. Doesn't that make your stomach turn? Turn over. All for inclusion. Now, I said yesterday on this program, and I maintain I will never change on this, ever, is that we all should absolutely back to the 100th degree the spirit of a king, which is a male, and a queen, which is a female, and all schools, I don't care where you are within the sound of my voice, should stay with a sense of normalcy and not bend to the idiocy that's going on around our world. Come on, call me. Let me know your thoughts on this. I mean, we're being taken over by a politically, I'll call it incorrect and stupid society. Call me, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know I feel blessed. Thank God I'm through school. And I don't have to see this kind of baloney.
Well,
I was watching the news this morning on one of the channels, and they were talking about this guy that's called a pontiff. Now, what in the heck is a pontiff? Are you there?
I'm listening to you, Jerry. I'm scared to say anything because we always overlap each other. Go ahead.
I'm giving you space.
Okay. No, I don't know what it is.
Well, somebody said that was President Trump.
Oh.
Why can't they say our honorable, precious, wonderful President Trump? Why do we want to call him some horrible name like a pontiff?
No, it's not pontiff. It's POTUS, President of the United States. That's what they're calling him with the abbreviation of the initials.
Heard of a POTUS.
Yeah. Well, it's been around for a long time, and a lot of newspapers, a lot of press releases have released it as POTUS, President of the United States, as an abbreviation in many of their articles.
Well, I'm I'm not going to abbreviate.
Okay.
I'm going to use longhand, long language, or whatever you call it.
Okay.
I think we got a wonderful president. I'm real proud. I'm one of the guys that put him there. They want to blame the Russians, but I know it was me because I voted for him.
And I appreciate and respect that because you had the backbone to come up and on the radio and say that, and I wish more people were like that, Jerry. God bless you for your thoughts.
Well, God bless you, too, and may the Lord bless your whole audience.
All right, sir.
Don't get out of your way. You know I don't agree much with this gay lifestyle. I can't go along with it in any way. You know, it's their privilege to be that way. I'm not going to tell them they can't be. But when they ask me to participate, they've lost it. And I mean in any way. If I have one of my grandkids that's gay, invite me to their wedding. I'm not coming. I have nothing to do with it.
I respect that, and I admire your courage. And I say that because I feel the same way. Jerry, God bless you. Got another call waiting. Thank you, sir.
You bet. You have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away. Please stay there. I want to tell everybody about Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with the lovely Dr. Christine Pickup. And, of course, I'm telling you, if you haven't had a hearing screening, it's not going to hurt you. There's no pain. I had fun with it. I really did have fun with it, and it really helped me a lot. So please call for an appointment today to have your hearing checked. 312-0957. 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. The lovely Dr. Christine Pickup, she knows. Oh, does she know hearing and sound, and she can help you. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Real quick also, Sophie's Chatterbox. We give cookies away every Monday. Ooh, they're good cookies. If you can answer the right answer to the right question. Hey, 530 East Street in Rupert. And don't forget your Easter baskets. If you're thinking about ordering something special for Easter baskets from their bakery, you're going to love it at Sophie's Chatterbox. Restaurant and Bakery Extraordinaire, 530 East Street in Rupert. Caller, you have waited long enough. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
The problem we're having today is coming from the school system. The enemies of America know that by programming the children to act like a bunch of sheep in the future is going to be the best way to take over this country. The enemies of America know that people like you and I aren't falling for that stuff because we've been through the mill already.
Yeah.
We know what's going on.
Yeah. You know, Tony, I just can't imagine what kind of a worthless, and I'm going to use that word, worthless, weak, spineless, snowflake. Oh, I got a paper cut. I got to take 3 weeks off. My finger hurts. I can't go to work. Honestly, I know that sounds like a stretch, but that's what we're raising.
Well, when I was working, you take a day off and the boss needed you. Hey, baby, you're out looking for another job the next morning.
Absolutely.
That's the way things work.
Yep.
So whether we felt sick or whatever, we went to work because we know we had to bring a paycheck in to support our family.
You know something, Tony, honestly, you're a little bit older than I am, but you and I can relate to this. When we were in school, be it grade school or junior high or high school, needless to say, some of the games and activities that we participated in physical education classes or our sporting events, they were rough, they were tough, they were meant to be, they were physically hard to make us better people, better athletes, and better students. And today we have lost that.
Oh, absolutely. We were taught differently in school. We used to have fights in the gymnasium, and Coach Logan come over there and said, "You break it up, fellas. If you want to fight, carry that in the street." And that's the end of it.
Yep,
But
I agree.
Nowadays, if you ever try to poke somebody in the nose in school, well, you got lawsuits and the ACLU and all this other garbage is going on.
We live in such a litigious... Yeah, it makes a world of difference, but you can see it in the kids. I mean, these little snowflakes, these poor little millennials standing on street corners and, oh, I hate the president. I hate the government. Why do you hate him? Oh, I don't know, but I was just told I should say I hate the president, and I'm going to go start a fire. Wah, wah, wah. I don't have any money. Do you have a job? No, I don't have a job. I don't want to work. This is idiocy.
Well, look at these kids running around with signs now for socialism. What they're not being told is these other countries, especially some around Europe, that have had socialism, and the country went broke. Now these people are demonstrating out in the streets because they've got no money to support themselves.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I'll stand behind what I'm going to say next. I would bet you that over 90, maybe 95, 96% of these little snowflakes have no idea, none, what socialism would do to them and to this country.
Well, when they find out, it'll be too late.
Yeah, I agree.
It's too late for the entire country. You've got so many of these millennials out there that are going to bust this country wide open if the school system doesn't do something to re-educate our people.
I can't argue that at all. Thank you, my dear friend.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care, Tony. I appreciate it, buddy. He's spot on. No kidding. I mean, the University of Minnesota going to go gender neutral on their king and queen for homecoming. Oh, boy. Am I glad I'm out of that school? Am I glad I have nothing to do or be affiliated with that school? I'll bet you a lot of the folks are real proud to say, well, I'm a graduate of the University of Minnesota. Look at them. They got a gender-neutral homecoming queen and court. Yuck. And then these kids playing on the playground. And kids are going to be kids, God bless them. And yes, they're going to run. Yes, they're going to play. Yes, they're going to get rowdy. That's part of being a kid. And then to say, you look, you guys and girls over there, and now you got to be gender neutral. You just got to say, look, you stand there and don't move. Ay, ay, ay. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Don't forget Minnecash Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley with Zach and the whole crew with the best of overhead doors. Need an overhead door? I'll tell you what, need an interior door or new windows. Or, man, you better get a hold of Zach. I mean, those folks over there really, really know. Now's the time to take care of that interior work. Yeah, buddy. And they can help send over the contractors to do the job. Minnecash Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, 878-2091. Bring you Dr. History on Tuesdays. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. When you were talking about getting people in Congress and in some of the voting areas to re-educate the folks, I'm wondering if some of the congressmen have forgotten their classes in anatomy and because they have been so indoctrinated that they don't really know the truth anymore.
You know, Chris, I want to live in a society, and I think you do too, where men are men, act like it, women are women, act like it, where men are very polite and open doors for ladies and are very polite and hold a lady's chair. I want to live in a society like that. I don't want to live in a society where you have to guess who's who.
Yes, and is that scary? Because then they really will be confused, and this world will start rotating the other direction.
Amen to that. But you know what? And address the kids quickly. Caller number 2, stay there a second. I'll be right there. Address this kid situation with basically turning them into little roboticized beings that go outside during recess and are told just to stand there.
You know, I have a son who has 2 little girls, and I'm telling you, they could kick almost anybody's rear end, and yet he and his wife are raising them up as ladies, and I think my son and his wife are making sure that their children know that they are girls, and that girls do certain things just because they're females, and they have to learn to get along with the group. But this always exploring or experimenting, not a good idea.
Absolutely not. Chris, it's always a blessing to hear from you. Thank you, and the very best to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Caller number 2, thank you for waiting, your patience. I appreciate it. Go ahead.
That's all right, Deb. Oh, when I think about the University of Minnesota, if I were back there now on the staff like I was back in the 60s, I would be ashamed and be screaming and hollering it. But anyway, some years back, wasn't there a problem here in Twin Falls where they had to quit having merry-go-rounds or some play equipment because children might get hurt?
You know, vaguely, I do remember that. But if they were back at old Curtis Mill Elementary School, where I went to school, and we used to get on the merry-go-round at recess, and we call the game swing out, and we'd go just as fast as we could go on that merry-go-round, and then swing out. And if you let go, gosh, you would crash and burn, you'd rip your clothes, get a bloody nose, but it was fun.
Well, and on the merry-go-round when I was a little girl, I slipped and fell and hit my chin on the bar, and they had to sew my tongue back together because I bit it off. And another time I fell and broke my arm through the thing. But they still had them, and I still went right back on and played on it some more.
Yeah, but you know what oh my goodness, why we must both be psychologically damaged. I mean, why we got hurt on the merry-go-round, and I got hurt playing football. Why we should sue somebody because our childhood was nothing but pitfalls, potholes, and injury.
Well, and I can't even imagine try to remember the number of boys that I had to put in their place because they were bullies. And I was a tomboy, but I was as much a lady as could be. When I grew up, it didn't bother me a bit. In fact, I think it made me understand men and women both better.
You know, I'm so blessed to have you call and discuss this because you and I both grew up in the same neck of the woods. God bless you, and I hope you have a great day.
Same to you.
Thank you. You know, these snowflakes. Oh, my little daughter. She was out there playing tag at recess, and she slipped and fell because somebody tagged her and said, "You're it!" And she got a bloody knee. Oh, well, I've got to sue. This school system has got to stop this. Insanity. Caller, stand by. I'll be right there. I promise. I want to remind everybody about the Southern Idaho Women's Expo, sponsored by the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, Idaho Central Credit Union, and the Idaho Housing and Finance. And it's going to be on April 13th at the Best Western Burley Inn. Businesses, listen. Get your booth space ordered right now because this is going to be a phenomenal place for you to advertise and talk about your business. Call them at 679-4793. 679-4793, Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. You call today. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Deb. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. A couple of years ago, my oldest daughter wanted to ride in the Gymkhana. And she was old enough, she had to ride a steer with the boys, you know, and everything like that. And there was a lot of people that were against that. And, you know, heck, when we were growing up, we had girls that was out riding us all the time, so we kind of got used to it. But they threw an absolute fit, but they went ahead and let her ride. Well, about 2 jumps out of the chute, she went over the front end, Kev jumped right in the middle of her, and she lost all her hair, and, you know, she cried, you know, she's a little kid. And, you know, the next year, she wanted to do it again. I said, all right, well, that's up to you, sweetie, I'll help you. And we went back there, and she got pumped up. She was excited. You know, I mean, she had her adrenaline pumping, and she was doing just like any other bull rider. She was doing this cold sweats and puking and gagging, you know, and she jumped in the middle of that dude, and I said, all right, sweetheart, just look down, hold on, and get a hold with your feet. And she rode that thing all the way across the arena. Well, the next kid that come out, he'd been back there since it started. You know, he had his own rope, and I bet he had a $800 pair of chinks on, you know. I mean, his parents had decked him out. Well, he made it about 6 jumps out of the chute and ate dirt. Well, my little girl ended up winning first place.
Well, good.
And that little boy's mom went up to the announcer stand, and she reamed into them. about how a girl could win in a guy's event that she rode two-handed when her boy rode one-handed. And they said, you know what? She rode further. There's no rules in the steer riding that says you can't come out double-handed.
You know, when
we grew up, it was just common knowledge that the girls had the advantage of riding double-handed.
Yeah.
That was never an issue.
I do not mind at all girls competing with boys when they're little boys, whether it's in the mutton busting or the steer riding or anything like that. Because I think there's a time and a place to stop and differentiate it and say when they become young women, no, I would not let my daughter ride in the rough stock events or anything like that. And I think you wouldn't either later, like in the high school years. And I would definitely, I'd put my foot down and I say no to intergender wrestling. I find that to be offensive and almost obscene. But you know something? Kids want to be kids. Little girls want to be girls, and they want to also play with dolls and maybe ride a calf or maybe ride a sheep, whatever. And I say more power to them. But you know, growing up, we're all going to get bumps and bruises. You can't live in a bubble, and these idiotic parents that try to shield their kids from every little pitfall or pothole, they're making a huge mistake.
Well, they are, and the parents are to blame for that. You know, us as parents, we have to set the example. We have to set the bar higher than what we expect, because even if they fall short, you need to reach for the stars.
Yep.
My little girl wants to barrel race so bad her teeth hurt. And, of course, my old mare, she can run the pattern on her all day long. She can do it. But she can't compete with some of these high-dollar horses that people are buying for their 10, 12, 14-year-old daughters.
Yeah.
They're $20,000 ex-barrel racing push-button horses. I can't compete with that financially.
Well, I understand your dilemma.
There's an issue there that my daughter says, well, we still want to do it, Dad. Well, if that's what you want, we're going to support you in that.
Yeah. You know, don't ever let the kids, this is my own personal opinion, and others can arbitrate with this, but don't ever let the kids not compete because maybe you don't have the best horse or whatever the case might be. Let them compete. Let them see how maybe they can progress on that old mare. Maybe let them see how the others have used the training techniques or the better horses. Let her keep competing. Let her keep dreaming, and always maybe let her keep thinking about how she can do things and obtain things in a better way later on in life. But I salute you for letting her continue to compete, whether she's going to be winning, losing, or hardly there at the end of the contest. God bless her for wanting to keep on going.
Thanks a lot.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, with the exception of the radical left coast California and some of their insane thinking, or going back into like New York and some of their complete insanity, you know, I think people in the rural areas, farm and ranch people raised that they had chores to do. People raised knowing that life wasn't all lollipops and roses. They understand, and their kids reflect that, even today. I have maintained, and I don't give a rip if somebody feels I'm stepping on their toes, but I've maintained that agricultural and rural people that live in rural areas have and produce and raise up tougher kids that are going to go on and excel later on in life. Now, I'll take the heat for that statement. So be it. I believe it. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. I want to talk about some really nice folks, and it's an assisted living facility in Rupert, and they really care about the people that are there. They take the residents and really treat them like they are family. They take them to great events like the Wilson Theater Productions, OVAC Productions. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. These are really, really nice folks, and they invite the public to come visit the facility anytime and take tours and just really see how well these folks care for others. They may be small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert, 436-3200. Caller, good morning. I've got a weather forecast, but I'll take your call first.
Yes, quickly, Zeb. The other day I heard a gentleman tell me that a person told him that he wasn't acting Christ-like.
Oh, boy.
And I guess that gentleman who told that person that he wasn't acting Christ-like was hoping that we were going to be meek and mild and wilt away into the corner, because that's what they really want us to do, because, you know, as well as I do, they believe that they know best for all of us.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me interrupt you.
Right into the ground like they have practically done.
Evan.
It's environmentalists, Democrats, you know, LGBTQ.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. The normal folks have had a mouthful, and they're rebelling, but they're all taking control. And just like last night, Laura Ingraham said, there's nothing left for these people to do but what they're doing. They have nothing in the playbook.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people say, Randy, and wrongfully so, well, you should be more Christ-like. But they seem to forget one of the stories in the Bible that is very prominent about Jesus going into the temple, and woe betide the money changers that were in the temple, because Jesus kind of really rocked their world for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, you see, you know, being loving and caring but firm in your convictions is what Jesus was.
That's right.
He wasn't a wilting violet wimp. You know, when we think about Christ dying on the cross for our sins, we think about the Garden of Gethsemane. And, you know, I believe that if he bled from every pore, that he, when you take on the sin of mankind before and after, I think that the actual pain of it all would be more than a normal death. And, you know, we just have no idea.
Well, you know, the whole thing is, if we could go back those thousands and thousands of years and be there by the temple door when Jesus went in and really raised the roof. I mean, he was literally a Bethlehem whirlwind. How would you like to talk to some of those money changers selling little birds and trinkets? They were on their way out the door. They didn't think he was a softy.
Well, if you've seen Ben-Hur, the good Ben-Hur with, you know, I can't think of his name, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And there's
Charlton Heston.
Where he's walking through the desert. They come to a place, and Jesus is in doing carpentry work, and he comes out to help the prisoners, and Ben-Hur's on his way to the galleys, and that sergeant, the sentry, says, no water for him. And then he looks up and looks at Jesus' eyes, and he cowers in shame, because he knows that he was, you see, if you were around Jesus, you would have known it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good way to put it. Randy, I got to get a weather on. Always good to hear from you. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Weather forecast, my goodness. Weather forecast brought to you by the Urgent Cares. Riverview Urgent Care, 382 North Overland in Burley. Twin Falls Urgent Care, 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin Falls. And Jerome Urgent Care, 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care. They take care of you and your family. They're open 7 days a week. Please, for cuts and sprains, I got the flu bug. They can help you, and they will, at the Urgent Cares. Right now, as I choke, here we go with the weather.
It's a beautiful day, and we expect spring-like conditions throughout the rest of the week and into the weekend. We are still in that flood watch as well. That has been extended. We are looking at partly cloudy skies for today. Gorgeous. High of 70 for today. Tonight, partly cloudy to a low of 50. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies. Winds are going to be picking up, high of 58. Everything calming down for Thursday night with a low of 37. Partly cloudy, 67 for Friday, and looks like partly to mostly sunny skies and 70 for Saturday. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Yeah, okay, Gina, thank you, and brought to you by the Urgent Cares, Kyle James, and all of his great, great staff serving you and your family. I'll get it right. And they've got 3 locations: Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, Twin Falls Urgent Care in Twin Falls, and Jerome Urgent Care in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. I got to get this on real quick. Rogge Auctions putting on a big spring community sale at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds, and it's going to be on April 8th starting at 10 a.m. If you'd like to get your consignments in, you better do it now so they can get on the sale bills. You know, they're taking farm equipment, livestock equipment, ATVs, all that. Call Ron Rogge at 431-6187 or Cade Rogge at 431-0074. Big spring community sale at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds, managed by Rogge Auctions on April the 8th. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, these kids nowadays, where the parents are so trying to protect them from learning anything.
Oh,
How
yeah.
are they going to deal with the hard knocks of life?
Oh, well, come on, Doug. You're being too hard-nosed. Why, these precious little snowflakes, we've got to put them in a bubble. We've got to watch over them 24/7. We've got to make them immune from anything that might cause them to have a bad day.
Yeah. I remember our schoolyard, we had gravel. We didn't have grass.
Yeah, we too. We did too. I'm so glad you brought that up at Curtis Mill. We just played touch and touch nothing tackle football on the gravel. And I mean, a lot of guys went home and they didn't have just the raspberries and the strawberries. They had severe guts and gullies in those cuts.
I know it. And your mother take your jeans and do a sew on or iron-on patch and then sew it in, and back to school you went the next day with them.
I can remember, I got to share this with you, because he's still today one of my very best friends. A guy by the name of Roger Hake, and we were best buddies in school. And we were talking trash, playing football at noon hour one time, and we were going back and forth at each other because we were good friends, and all of a sudden he shot through the line, and the next thing I know, I'm looking straight up in the sky, watching birds land in the tree, and I was lucky to see those birds. I have never got hit so hard in my life.
I know it. And we survived. I mean, these poor kids nowadays. And did you see that deal on the news today where the guy has this company and he has a survey for you to take so he can weed out?
He does. He calls it a snowflake survey, and if they can't pass the questions and sound like they're patriotic and sound like they're real men and real women, he don't want them.
Exactly. And it's sad, but how do you take over a civilization? How do you take over a country?
You know, Doug, seriously, right here in this area, we've got problems. There's problems all over the country. But, I mean, we have got problems of people that, the work's too hard. There's not enough benefits. They start too early in the day. The list goes on. And I have no sympathy for these people. I want them to just absolutely see all the pitfalls of life because they deserve them. They haven't put forth the effort to try to be self-responsible and do the work.
Exactly. And where they're going to start coming out with a work program for welfare, you have to either take classes to learn a trade or you need to go out and look for work.
Yep.
And there are people saying out there, well, I don't know how to do anything.
Well, gee.
I don't know how to. And because we've fed them, we've taken care of them, we've survived, give them every need they wanted.
Yeah.
I feel we should go back to the 50s and 60s. When you were on welfare, you went to the food bank, you got cheese and beans and rice.
Yeah.
And you can live on that. And that's all we should give them, is just enough to live.
We're so harsh.
And more than you make at a wage when you go to work at McDonald's.
You've lost all the incentive for these people on welfare. Yes, they need those Lexus to drive to pick that cheese up. Yes, they need those new Cadillacs. Yes, they need those new three-piece suits so they can go ahead and get all the goodies and Baskin-Robbins ice cream and everything else. How dare you diminish their worth?
Well, and they need their tattoos and their piercings and their iPhones.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand taking care of somebody in need, and I'll be the first one to step up, and so will you. But I am not going to support somebody who refuses to try to help themselves.
Amen. I got to run and do a spot, but you know something? This is a subject that I just love talking about because, you know, anybody that says, oh, it's not that way at all, they're being closed-minded. As a matter of fact, I don't even think they've got a mind, and they better wake up soon before it's too late.
Yes, and I've seen a deal yesterday that stated since Johnson signed in with that act, you know, to help the war on poverty.
Yeah.
We've spent $20 trillion, and we've gained not even 1%.
I agree. I know. I got to run, Doug. I'm way late. Okay. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, everybody, take care of your senior centers.
There you go, buddy.
And donate if you can.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it, bud. Thanks. Hey, don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Oh, my goodness, all 7 right now with a huge, that's really big, tire sale for spring. And tires like the Eclipse tire for your car. All-season traction, advanced tread design, just $61.74. What? This is a great, great tire for your passenger cars. Stop in and see them today. And don't forget tires for every driving need for your SUVs, your pickups, horse trailers, whatever, boat trailers. Yep, they've got them at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And the best in brake service. I can't emphasize enough, they are the best. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Okay, we're going to take a little break. Dave Bego from Indianapolis is going to be up next. And then at 9:30, we've got Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke. Don't go away. Zeb at the Ranch. Wheels, take it away. Wait a minute, here we go. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations with a big spring tire sale going on right now. And along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
You know, Deanne the other day said, Zeb, we need to get a dumpster for the garage and your office and everything else. And she's right. So anyway, I'm telling you that if you need a dumpster, you're cleaning up this spring, that's what you need to do is call Western Waste Services 734-6969 and get a dumpster. Fill it up. And they'll come get it. I'm telling you, this is great. They are always at your disposal. Call them again, 734-6969. Western Waste Services. Absolutely the best. Oh, and by the way, I also want to tell you about who else is absolutely the best, and that's Ark Animal Hospital. Hello, Dr. Bill. Hello, Dr. Liz, and the whole staff. Boy, you talk about people that really care about animals and animal health. They are there. They're there. Mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, they love them and take care of them all. So please remember the number, Ark Animal Hospital, 678-1177. 678-1177. They do have warm hearts for cold noses. I love that. Hey, by the way, businesses, if you haven't got your booth space rented yet for the Southern Idaho Women's Expo, don't forget, you better call today, 679-4793. It's going to be at the Best Western Burley Inn on April 13th and sponsored by the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce, Idaho Central Credit Union, and Idaho Housing and Finance. Coming up on April 13th. Call today, that number, 679-4793, for your booth for your business at the Southern Idaho Women's Women's Expo. Well, lo and behold, as we open the door, and there stands little Davy wanting to come inside and play. Hello, Dave Beagle. How are you?
I'm doing good, Jeff. How you doing?
Oh, I'm just your typical mad talk show host. I want to ask you something, Dave. When you were growing up back in Indianapolis, did your mom and dad shield you from everything that might cause you great harm or injury? Why? Did they not let you play touch football, or did they not let you play tag because you might get a cut on your knee?
No, Zeb. Same as you back in those days. We went out and we did everything, and we didn't get a trophy just for, being involved. You get a trophy if you won, and that's the problem with America today. But again, this is, as I've talked about many times on the show, this is all part of the program to take control of this country by, making people subservient.
You know, Dave, it's not funny, but it is funny, and to some degree.
If I can't hear you very well.
Wheels, you got to turn it up so he can hear me, buddy. Can you hear me now, Dave?
Yeah, I can hear you better now.
Okay, thank you. But it's not funny, but this is the way the transition has been in this lifestyle. Folsom, California schools now are not allowing tag because little Johnny or Susie might fall and skin their knee. And other schools have told the kids at recess that they have to stay out on the playing field or the grass where the recess is held and stand still. They're not allowed to run. This is a complete wussification of America.
It is, Deb, and I really should go back and write a third book just out of the blogs I've written over the last 3 or 4 years after I wrote my book, because I talk about all this kind of stuff that's going on, and it's just it's part of the program to gain control of this country and bring it down and make it into a communist, socialistic type of society. And, they don't want people to be tough people. They don't want people to learn from their mistakes and, failures and stuff like that. And that's what it's all about. It isn't just going to school and learning. You got to learn through life's, what happens to you during life.
Absolutely. We have a caller with a question. Go ahead, caller. Quickly, you're on the air.
Jeb, I'll refer to you as affectionately Mr. Gender. I think it's a new title for you. My question is, I appreciate your discussion this morning as it relates to schools. However, I hope your listeners can understand that they have an ability to input in the public school process as it relates to the curriculum. A lot of this garbage is being taught through Eastern or wherever it comes from curriculum that's allowed to be taught, and every parent in the public school system has an opportunity to participate and tell what they want in or out of that curriculum, and they need to exercise that right.
I agree with that, and I'll have Dave respond, but before he does, I'll say this. We have got to get back to the basics, and there's another story, Dave, that I want to get into with you in just a moment, but respond to the caller about the parents. The parents have got to show some moxie and stand up.
Well, they do, and, we need to look back at how this country was founded and how it was grown. The people that came over here and fought for independence, and then, the settlers that moved across the country and fought the environment and the Indians and everything else, and started their own little farms and ranches and grew this country. Entrepreneurship and hard work and, all that kind of stuff, and, and failures at times, and obviously there's times when people got hurt or unfortunately got killed. The American people kept moving ahead and kept working hard at it, and that's what made America great. And we need to get back to that.
Now this story, if you haven't heard about it yet, Dave, get ready, sit down, hold your nose. The University of Minnesota now says that they're going to do away with the traditional homecoming king and queen, and they're going to go with gender neutrals, and it might be a couple of guys that are the king and queen for homecoming. Doesn't that just make you feel so proud?
they're just sick people. They don't get it. They don't understand. And you know something, Zeb? This goes back to something I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Is we've got people in our institutions of higher learning across the country that have never had to go out and work in the private workforce and do things and understand what it takes to get ahead and how to handle people and different situations and all that. Everything they do is just based on theory for them. And we need to get back to where, like we do with the Trump administration, we need people that have been in business, been in the free market, understand how it works, and before they go into politics, and the same with education.
Dave, a very homely, very off-the-wall Rachel Maddow on MSNBC last night was trying to really vilify Trump, really trying to nail him to the wall because of his lack of supplying tax information. But whoops, wait a minute. They found, somehow, a 2005 tax return that showed that Donald had paid $38 million in taxes, and poor Rachel Maddow, she looks like she has the proverbial egg on her face.
Yep, and it's good to see that kind of stuff, and that's what you have to do to these people. You have to expose them for what they really are. They're out there throwing out misinformation and lies and everything like that to achieve their agenda, and you just have to go out and expose stuff and get it out there in front of them. And I don't know where it came from, but I would suspect that it was made available so that the egg would be on her face.
You know, really, when you talk about Donald Trump and what he's doing and what he has accomplished already, and then the left, Dave, they're not backing off in their hatred. They're not backing off in not trying to help the country. All they're doing is just trying to devise evil ways to get rid of him. As a matter of fact, the USA Today the other day, and I'm sure you saw this, had a story about, excuse me now, soon it's going to be President Pence. We're going to get rid of Donald. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think that's what they're trying to do, and they're going to continue to try and do it. And I like Governor Pence. He's a good guy in that, but he doesn't have the background, and he really doesn't have the backbone strength that Trump does to stand up to some of these people and look them in the face and say no. They know that, and they know they can manipulate Pence a lot easier than they can Trump, and that's what they're out for, because, again, it all comes back about control, and the Democratic Party, especially the far left part of it, which has taken over, they want to see capitalism and the free markets brought down in this country and taken us to a socialistic, communistic society so they can control us.
You know, I heard a report this morning early at about 4:15 a.m. that businesses in general, I'm not going to mention any business names, I'm not going to go into the CEOs, etc., but business in general is just like being on the high dive right now. They want to climb higher and higher and test the water. In other words, it looks like businesses in general are very optimistic, very enthusiastic about this Trump administration. You, as a businessman and a very successful one, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think that's true to a point. I think a lot of people businesses are optimistic about that. Maybe your bigger companies that are on the stock exchange or that are publicly traded. But I still see a lot of companies across the country, and a lot of major companies we deal with that are still very, very conservative in their approach to the future, and we see a lot of them that are still reducing costs, and it's unfortunate. I was just reading yesterday and this morning in Indianapolis, we've got 2 or 3 facilities that are closing down, and you've got one place 130 people losing jobs and another 95 or something like that, and some of it is because the owners are older and that, but some of it's because of the economy. It's still tough out there, and we got to get these regulations taken care of. And we got to open up the system so that people can be successful out there.
What about, and I was going to get into this subject because I'm very concerned. I stated my case last week that I think the Republicans had better sit down with a microscope or even a telescope to look far away into all the possible problems with their American health care. What are your thoughts about where they are right now and trying to ram this thing through, I think, too early?
Well, yeah, to a point, Zeb. But the other side of it is that Obamacare is really costing people a lot of money. We've seen the premiums going up tremendously for our people because of the cost of health insurance and the cost of health care, and some of the numbers that the CBO throws out there are just crazy. I think in a way it's hurt more people than it's helped. And, you have a lot of people that are on Obamacare because of the Medicaid stuff and all that kind of stuff. And I think we need to get it repealed and get it out of there and then work on a program to let the free market take over. And by that I mean, competition across state lines and things like that will make healthcare providers get out there and be very efficient, provide good health care, and do it at an affordable cost. And I think the sooner we do that, the better off we're going to be.
Absolutely. I want to go back to the employer-employee situation. I don't know if you heard about this guy or not, but there's a gentleman by the name of Mr. Reyes, and he developed what's called a snowflake survey. And for anyone that wants to make a job application to his business, they ask questions on there about the person's patriotism, their love of country, their thoughts on our police forces, and then he picks the ones that show that they've got the spine and the gumption. It's called the Snowflake Survey. I love it. Why don't you employ one like that for your business?
I'd like to see that. I have not seen that, Zeb. You'll have to send that to me. I think those things are good. You have to be careful, especially with the regulations and things that Obama put in place with the EEOC and the Department of Labor. Because this is the other thing we're seeing across the country with businesses. Obama gave the EEOC and Department of Labor and the NLRB a lot more latitude and strength to go after employers on things like applications and that. They don't even want a check-off box anymore where you can, look into a person's background, whether they had any criminal background and stuff like that. Trump's got to get these things taken care of and wiped out before we move forward with stuff that give us more information. If not, the businesses will be fighting these, and we've had to fight a few stupid EEOC things, and we got them resolved. But it's just it's a way of the government, again, trying to infiltrate business and take control.
Let me ask you this, Dave. I have talked over the last couple of weeks to many, many businesses and employers. And what I'm finding out is that it's not a lack of jobs. I'm hearing just the opposite. I'm hearing that it is a cornucopia of jobs available, but they can't find people to work. How would you respond to that?
Oh, that's exactly true. And it's all over the country, and it's because of all the entitlement programs that the past administration put into place. And, if it's too easy for people to say, no, we'll just use all these entitlement programs and apply for a job but not take it and use the unemployment we get to, and between the two of them, they're happy. And there's no incentive, Zeb, for people to go out and work hard and persevere, do the right things, and try to move ahead in life. It's too easy just to sit back and have stuff handed to you.
Yeah, but wait a minute.
Got to get away from that.
Well, wait a minute. You said there is no incentive. I disagree politely with you. I wanted certain things in my life. I knew that I was not going to have them handed to me at a birthday party. I wanted certain things. I wanted to achieve certain things in my businesses and also my personal life. So I got down and I got my hands dirty and went to work. What do you mean there's no incentive?
Well, there isn't, because a lot of these people don't want to go out and work hard and get down and do the things they need to do to be successful, it's too easy for them to get all these entitlements and unemployment and that. And they make enough money, they're happy. They're going to say, I don't care, I don't need any more than that. And part of this, too, is our education system over the last 20, 30 years, where, we're talking about taking care of people, handing them a trophy for just competing, not whether they win or not. There is no incentive anymore. We've lost that type of thing, and we need to get it back. And the only way to do it is people realize that, okay, if you want to make a living now, if you need things, you're going to have to go out and work for it. And if you want to move ahead, you're going to have to work hard for it.
Yeah. I mean, the incentive should be if their belly grumbles and rumbles, it might mean they're hungry, and they better figure out where they're going to earn the dollar to buy a Twinkie. I am sick and tired of supporting them.
Well, I think so, too, and I think the majority of Americans are, too. But again, this is all about politics, and this is about a Democratic far-left party that's, in a death spiral. And their biggest supporter, the unions, are in a death spiral, and they're going to do anything they can to get votes, whether it's handing out more, incentives to them through the entitlement programs or that, or bringing in more people across the border and getting them to vote for them. This is all about a political situation, and America needs to wake up, and Trump needs to continue to explain what's going on out there and expose the mainstream media for what they're really saying.
I totally agree. I want you to respond in the time left this morning about a story that I heard this morning, and I'm really upset about it. In West Palm Beach, Florida, there is a Veterans Administration facility, and they refused to put up the picture of President Trump. And when a congressman that had lost both of his legs in Afghanistan went into the facility and put a picture of Trump up, they took it down, and they said that Trump is not our president. What are your thoughts on this?
It's sad. It is extremely sad that these things are going on in this country, but this is part of the problem inside the bureaucracy that we have, and why it needs to be changed in Washington and all over the country. And you got to remember something, Zeb. Getting back to my experience with the unions, the VA is heavily unionized, and I'm sure behind the scenes the unions are really intimidating, controlling what's going on by the decision makers. And this is what people have to wake up to, because it's like I expose in my book why Glenn Beck is no longer at Fox, because he went after the SEIU, they went after Fox advertisers, and they went to the SEIU and said, we know you're losing money. If you want us to leave your advertisers alone, get rid of Beck. And they did. Mm-hmm. This is the same type of thing that's going on across America in these situations and the mainstream media and that, and it's time to expose this and stop it.
Now, I know, according to what I've heard from some of your secretaries back there, that you are a devout Snoop Dogg rap fan, and they say they can hear the music emanating out of your office daily. What are your thoughts about Snoop Dogg and the idiocy of his latest video?
Well, I'm not a big rap guy to Snoop Dogg, so I'm sorry, Zeb. I can't really answer that question for you. My office is very quiet and working hard all the time.
Oh, I know that, but I just had to give a little salt into the possible wound. What it was, real quickly, is that he shot a video for his new so-called song, and it showed him going up behind a person that looked like President Trump and shooting him in the head with a fake pistol. And quite frankly, now the Secret Service is investigating this absolutely detestable singer, and rightfully so. That's what happened.
Yeah, it's sad, and again, this is part of the far left movement, in which a lot of these people are a part of, and we got to wake America up. We really do. They don't get it. It isn't all about what you think all the time. It's about going out and doing the right things and upholding the values of this country.
All right, now listen, during coffee break time this morning, you don't dare, little Davy, go out on the playground and skin your knee. You be careful back there.
I'm sure that, I don't worry about that stuff. I go out and do that. And as you know, I play basketball still full court every week. If I fall or, run into a wall, that's what happens. That's just part of going out and accomplishing things.
Dave Vigo, a dear friend, God bless you, man. Thanks for being on the program.
Well, thanks, and have a great week out there.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Good friend, good friend, and I mean that. Has been for a long time, Dave Bigo, and the author of The Devil at My Doorstep and The Devil at Our Doorstep. Very, very good businessman. Okay, where am I? Oh, don't forget Rogge Auctions. Yes, they're going to be having the big spring community sale at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. It's going to be on April the 8th, starting at 10 a.m. And if you want to get your particular equipment or whatever on the sale bill, you better get a hold of them today. Call Ron Rogge at 431-6187 or Cade Rogge at 431-0074. And they want you to get your consignments in now early for the big spring community sale, Minidoka County, Minidoka County Fairgrounds on April 8th, managed by Rogge Auction Company. There you go. And also, while I have just a moment here, I want to remind you about our dear friends and your friends. And that's, of course, Joel Heward, his staff and family at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. You know, they take care of all the details. I mean, when there's the passing of a loved one, you call the number, you visit with them. They are there. They are there to serve you with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. It's a difficult time, very difficult, and families don't know what to do and how to get things all accomplished. They are there to help you with all the arrangements. Call Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, 436-5636. 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, serving you. It is going to be a beautiful day today in the neighborhood, high of about 70 degrees, and tomorrow we're going to be at Denny's Restaurant, oh yeah, America's Diner, at 611 Overland and Burley for our lunch bunch. Our thanks again to Smith's Food, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes, and Doug Martin, just some of our gift certificate givers and gift givers for our drawings. God bless them. At Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner tomorrow for Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Don't you forget it. By the by, too, I want to remind you about Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the entire world. Now, they've got office hours. If you didn't know this, and I just had a bunch of Scotch tape hook onto my shirt, and we have now got about a 20-inch piece of Scotch tape that's laying all over the desk. Anyway, if you didn't know it, they're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. And now is the time to invest in a brand spanking new ATV. Oh my goodness, have they got a showroom full of them. And if you already have an ATV, take it over and get it serviced and ready for this spring and summer. Oh my goodness, the whole crew there to serve you. The best of ATVs and, of course, accessories and that great service department at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 in Rupert, where the fun is sold. And real quick, I also want to remind you about our friends over there in that neck of the woods, or that part of the desert, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh my goodness, the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. They know, and they can help you. They're dedicated and responsive to your needs. Make an appointment today. You call them at 436-4424. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance in Rupert. I think I just had something come through. And let's see. Oh, thank you, Wheels. I appreciate that. I had my phone on mute, and I didn't hear anything. We're going to now go with the legislative update. And I believe we have Representative Fred Wood on the phone. We had thought that Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke, was going to be available, but let's say good morning to a dear friend. Good morning, Fred. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. How are you? The Speaker apologizes. We had him scheduled to be on until about 7 minutes ago, and I was chairing a committee and got an urgent call that he had to go somewhere, so I turned it over to the vice chairman, and I'm here to try and give you a legislative update that I've had about 5 minutes to prepare for.
Well, don't you worry about that. You're very, very good at what you do, but you go up to Scott and you tell him that for the first time in his friendship with Zeb, he's going to have to pay up on a steak dinner for not showing up.
Well, and not only that, but I'll make sure he gets there next week, or at least to the best of my ability.
Okay, thanks. Fred, really, I think maybe in fairness, I'll ask you, here we are at basically the tail of the dog for the session up there for this year, and what needs to be addressed, what hasn't been addressed, and what's still pending?
The biggest issue that is still pending is the amount of money that we can get into the transportation system to fix the roads in the next year or two in the aftermath of the winter. We had a very unusual winter event, and the spring event hasn't even started yet.
Yeah.
Everybody recognizes that, and everybody recognizes that it's going to be when it's all said and done, it'll be a disaster. So the question is how much money can we get out to start fixing the infrastructure? We had a chairman's meeting this morning. That lasted for 30 minutes longer than it was supposed to, and every single minute of the discussion was about how we can get more transportation funding out and still take care of the educational needs and other needs. Good thing is we got a little extra money this year, and all of that will go to transportation in some form. The speaker admonished everybody this morning to quit being parochial, and I've got to have my pound of flesh or nobody gets anything, and you got to stop that nonsense and quit fighting and get down the road of getting the money out.
Okay.
So that's the status of transportation. There's still some issues with education, but that's not money issues so much, although there is a dispute between the legislative branch of government and the executive branch of government about how we fund $15 million for health insurance benefits to the school districts. So those are the two big things, Zeb, that I see that we need to resolve before we get home, hopefully on the 24th.
All right.
We're still trying to get that done.
Okay, now I'm going to be really naive here, and please, I apologize up front for my lack of knowledge on this next question. But for the listeners and myself, I don't have a clue how the legislative body sits down and discerns the information as to where, what, and how they're going to get these roads fixed, how much money it's going to take per district, if you will. I mean, how do you sit down and quarterback all that to get it so that we are going to hopefully get these roads started? I mean, this is a massive undertaking, isn't it?
It is. And, well, first of all, and again, transportation is not my area of expertise. I don't sit on the transportation committee, but being here for 11 years, I've learned a lot about transportation as you do other things. So here's how we're doing that this particular year. The first thing that you have, and this only deals with those counties that will meet the federal definition of a disaster area and then are declared federal disaster areas. The federal government puts up 75 cents of every dollar for federal disaster. The state has to put up 15 cents, and the local government or the local unit of government counties have to put up 10 cents. Now, a lot of what the counties can put up, as I understand, can also be in kind. So what the state has done is to put up $50 million, and that went through JFAC about 2 weeks ago, and so the feds will put up their share of that. The local government will put up their 10% share. So that puts out roughly $350 million that those counties that are declared disaster areas can tap into that $350 million for the request to start building infrastructure, including roads and other things. And it is limited, and I don't know exactly what it's limited to, but as I understand it, transportation infrastructure certainly qualifies as one of the top priorities for that.
Okay. Now,
secondly, then you have all of the money that goes into the regular state highway distribution account, which is the state takes 60% of that and the locals take 40% of that, or 35%, depending upon when it comes in, because the state police get some amount of that. Now, the question is then, how much extra money are we going to put into that fund from the general fund? And the ITD board is the board that actually determines through their step process where the priorities are for that funding.
Okay.
The next issue we have is we still have $300 million in Garvey bonding available to us. And at the rate of inflation is starting to pick up, most people in the legislature believe that we should bond for at least $150 million of that to repair and widen that section of the interstate between Franklin Road, which is at the sugar beet factory in Nampa, out past Caldwell. Because, as one of the representatives said today, I've got 18 semis a day from eastern Idaho just from my farm hauling seed spuds to Washington and Oregon.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the most highly used corridors in the state of Idaho, and a lot of our economy is based on that interstate, and there's a real bottleneck of the interstate there, and the roadbed has been partially destroyed simply because of the winter.
Yeah.
So there's an argument about whether to leave that whole thing up to the Idaho Transportation Department or whether the legislature should prescribe where that $300 million should be spent. Then there's an issue of the state police and whether to take the state police road money, put it into the state highway distribution account, and substitute general fund money into the state police, etc. So how all that decision is made is in the legislature. You start with chairman meetings like this morning, then you go to the transportation committees. The transportation committees discuss all of this. And, for those people who don't think that the legislature, Zeb, does anything, well, we're here at 6:30 this morning talking about this kind of stuff, and we're sitting here in this building at 9:30 at night trying to sort all this stuff out. We go home, we go to sleep, we get up, and we do it all the next day, and we'll be doing it tomorrow. And then when the Speaker and I drive back to Burley this weekend, which we're coming home together because the wives are somewhere else, that's all we're going to talk about is how to fix transportation. And then on the way back, we'll do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So that's how it gets done. That's what we're trying to do in transportation. And that's what, when you hired me to do, that's what I'm up here doing.
And you bring up an excellent point, and I'm so glad you did that, because that's why I asked the questions about the ins and outs, the intricacies, about how this is all like a spider web combined together so that we eventually end up with the work on the roads. Let me ask you this, Fred. Who, in your opinion, would really be a good person to get on my program and talk about the infrastructure as far as the actual building of the roads, what has to be done, the cost of the material, and all that type of thing?
There's probably, the Speaker is as good as any. And that's one of the reasons that we tried to schedule it such that he would be on today. Now, it'll be even more wrapped up next week. But we might also, you might call him, Zeb, and see if he could come on either tomorrow or the next day, because this is important enough that all of your listeners out there today would like to hear a little bit more. And probably the best time to do that would be either Friday or Monday. Tomorrow's in a real flux. Now, I suspect what's what he was called away for this morning is the Senate and the House are not agreeing on a bunch of the stuff that I just described. How much Garvey, what to do with Garvey, et cetera, et cetera. And I suspect he's in the governor's office now trying to negotiate a bunch of this stuff with the Senate.
Okay.
But I think the Speaker would be the best to do that. He's also more up to speed with what's going on in the Senate and what the governor's thinking than the transportation chairman would be.
Okay.
So I'll tell him to see, why don't you give him a buzz after the program this afternoon, and then I'll give him a heads up that you'll be calling, and then you can come to a time, perhaps Friday or Monday, in addition to the legislative update next week, that you can get this information out to the listeners so that they can get back to us with any concerns that they have.
I will do that, and I want to get into one more segment, and then I've got to do a weather forecast and wrap this up. Fred, the healthcare. This is something that is looming over our heads. I've had the great doctor from Atlanta, Georgia, Dr. Elena George, on my program the first of the week, talking about Obamacare and the repeal, talking about the new American Health Care Act and her thoughts, pluses and minuses. What are your thoughts? You're a doctor that's been on the front line. You know exactly what's going on with what happened with Obamacare. What are your thoughts and your fears about what they're doing now with the Republicans?
Well, interesting you say that. Yesterday afternoon at 3:30, I got a call from the governor's office and an invitation to go sit in on a phone call from 5:30 to 6 o'clock last night. And on that phone call was 8 Western governors, including Governor Otter, and then myself, Director of the Department of Health and Welfare, Director of the Department of Insurance, Senator Hyder, Chairman of Senate Health and Welfare, and a couple of governors' staff associated with health care. And HHS Secretary Price was on for 30 minutes, along with his new CMS Director, SEMA. And it became apparent to me in that phone call with HHS Secretary Price that at this point in time, I don't think they're going to get that bill through the House and the Senate that they came out with. They're going to have to make major changes in that bill. Now, what those changes are going to be, I don't know, because a bunch of the moderate Republicans or Republicans who want financial stability are saying, you can't go down the road that you're going down right now without really causing or destabilizing the whole insurance market and destabilizing a bunch of people by throwing them off of the insurance. The far conservatives, however, are saying this didn't go anywhere near far enough. We want you to just completely repeal Obamacare. We don't care what it does to the insurance market, etc. That seemed to be the rock and the hard place that everybody's between. I am really concerned after that phone call about whether they're going to be able to do anything in the next few months. And that may be a blessing in disguise because, boy, if they don't do this right, Zeb, we're going to have a problem.
Well, I agree with that.
It needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed greatly. A whole bunch of it needs to be repealed and replaced, but they can't just repeal it and drop it. And that's, every day that goes by, it becomes more apparent that they better not do that. They better carefully calculate what they're going to do and the changes they're going to make here.
Well, they're going to wear this thing. I mean, whether they like it or not, the Republicans, after being very critical, and rightfully so, of the negativity of Obamacare, now they've got an opportunity, I think, a one-shot opportunity to make this right, or they're going to wear it, and it could be the total disruption and destruction of their party. Do you agree with me or not?
Well, it's going to cause significant problems for the party because You know, the Democrats wore Obamacare, and what happened to them? Well, they're no longer around, at least in power. Now, there's a bunch of them still left. I would agree with that. That's not the issue. But, boy, it really did cause havoc within their ranks. The Republicans will wear whatever comes out of this. There isn't any doubt about it. So they better be real careful about what comes out of this. I think most people would say, yes, we realized you ran on a campaign promise to immediately repeal it. But, you know, having thought about that, why don't you do it in a real thoughtful way so that you don't disrupt patient care, so that you don't disrupt insurance markets, so you don't destabilize a bunch of things, and don't cause undue harm to yourself in a irrational approach to trying to do something.
Let me ask you one final thought here. I've only got 3 minutes left, Fred. But, you know, in the Constitution, the government basically, and I'm giving a paraphrase, for the general welfare of the people. But, you know, I'm going to sound hard-hearted on this. But I've worked hard for everything I've got. I've paid for everything I have. And I'm just a little bit sick and tired of the government assuming the responsibility that should be back to the private citizenry. In other words, why does the government have to be the panacea, the catch-all, cure-all for everyone and provide health insurance at everyone else's expense?
Well, they shouldn't. And there is a certain amount of self-responsibility that absolutely goes with just being alive and being a citizen of the United States, and particularly the state of Idaho. That's why you have not seen the expansion of Medicaid in the state of Idaho, is simply because in Idaho, the belief that the government is supposed to take care of everything is not a belief that is widely held in the state of Idaho. And we've not been able to come to that fine line of, okay, how much, where can we put in the appropriate amount of self-responsibility, the appropriate amount of take care of yourself, the appropriate amount of whatever, versus those that can't. We've pretty much taken care of those that can't. Now we're left with those that won't, to some extent. There is a fine line between won't and can't. Yep. I get that.
Yep.
But nobody's been able to define that enough in the state of Idaho to move forward with a Medicaid expansion bill. And that may well be good, because as I read the current bill, all that comes to an end in 2020. And how soon they phase it out is what could cripple state budgets.
I agree. You know, Fred, I got to tell you, for not having time to kind of rehearse and get things put together, you did pretty darn good there, Mr. Representative.
Well, thanks, Zeb. I apologize to the listeners. I literally had 5 minutes, but the speaker was called to an emergency meeting upstairs. So, again, we'll get him on, give him a call today, Zeb.
Okay.
And however I can help, let me know.
I will do that. Representative Fred Wood, thank you. God bless. Have a great day, sir. Thank you very much.
You too, Zeb.
Thank you.
Later. Thanks. Bye.
Excellent interview there. Fred, I have the utmost respect for. We're blessed to have him as a state representative. Holy cow, we got to get the weather forecast on here, and the weather brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company, CPAs. The best CPAs, tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, retirement planning. Oh my goodness, these folks are good. And you should get a hold of them today. They've got 2 locations in Burley and Rupert. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company CPAs, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. Here's the weather.
It's a beautiful day, and we expect spring-like conditions throughout the rest of the week and into the weekend. We are still in that flood watch as well. That has been extended. We are looking at partly cloudy skies for today. Gorgeous. High of 70 for today. Tonight, partly cloudy to a low of 50. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies. Winds are going to be picking up, high of 58. Everything calming down for Thursday night with a low of 37. Partly cloudy, 67 for Friday, and looks like partly to mostly sunny skies and 70 for Saturday. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Boy, she does a good job. Her and Scotty, I thank both of them for all their comprehensive weather forecasts. This hour brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Todd Phillips, Rob Oaks, Mitch Goodwin, Lyden Crane, they're good. They are really good, and they can help you. Please get a hold of them today. I know that we're creeping ever so quickly up on tax day, but they can help you with so much more. As far as, retirement planning and bookkeeping services, call the best and work with the best. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company in Burley and Rupert. Got a public service announcement here. I think it came from Doreen McMurray. The seedling tree orders are now being taken by the Soil and Water Conservation Districts. 8 varieties of seedlings are available. Deciduous, conifers, and shrubs. Quantities are limited. You must pre-order. Order forms, photos, and descriptions are available in the Soil and Water Conservation District in Burley and Rupert. And you can call the offices at 678-1225 or 436-4202. So get your tree orders in now. By the way, I know somebody that's looking for some really good drivers, and that's Ag Express. Yes, sirree, Bobby, they are looking for full and part-time drivers. Retired folks are welcome to apply, and they'll work around your schedule 2 or 3 days a week, whatever works best for you, and you're home every night. Yes, and they've got great vacation schedules and benefit packages. Well, what are you waiting for? Run to the phone and call Dale and Paul at 438-8886. Allen in Twin Falls, 731-2495. And Russ in Burley at 431-7175. Ag Express Incorporated, looking for drivers. They're looking for you. Okay, where are we at here this morning? Got some more items. Oh, Lunch Bunch. Yes, how dare I forget. We're going to have Lunch Bunch tomorrow. Now, here's the funny part of it. I'm going to take off. I got to talk to my old buddy Wheels. He's actually the boss. I got to ask him, Wheels, can I leave a little bit early tomorrow? Okay. Anyway, it's going to take me a little extra time to get through Highway 30 and their bombed out road. I mean, it is a mess in certain places. And if you want to destroy your front end or your tires on your vehicle, Highway 30 is the place to go. I'll tell you what, it's terrible. Well, anyway, Lunch Bunch tomorrow at Denny's America's Diner at 11:30. And don't forget, everybody be there. I want to have a huge, that means really big gathering tomorrow. And our thanks go out to Smith's Food, Handsome Mortuary, Stokes, and Doug Martin with his redneck cup holders. I love those. And we're all going to be there and have a good time at Denny's America's Diner tomorrow for Lunch Bunch. Don't forget that. Now, I called the Incredible Bulk earlier this morning, which is, of course, Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fishing Game. And I said, Kelton, you are, of course, aware that today is the day that you're on my program. Oh, yeah, I got it all figured out. Yeah, okay. Well, he hasn't opened the door and walked in yet. That causes me a little consternation, but we will go to the window and look out and see if he's parked out in the yard. And that's coming up this next hour, the Idaho Fish and Game Report with Kelton Hatch. Stay tuned. Zeb at the Ranch. I'll be back in about 7 minutes. Let's hear what CBS News has got. Wheels, it's all yours, buddy. Oh, my goodness. The Bulk has left the building. No, he hasn't. He's here. And it's always good to have Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fishing Game. He'll be here momentarily. He's out grooming his hair in the other room. And Zeb at the Ranch brought to you by... He looks at me like, where are you coming up with this stuff? Zeb at the Ranch brought to you by, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and, of course, some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. I got one little commercial, and then I'm going to introduce him because he's waiting impatiently. And Ag Express is looking for drivers. Hey, can you drive a truck? You can. Okay, he's good, he said. He's really good at 18-wheelers. Ag Express is looking for drivers. Call Dale and Paul at 438-8886 or Alan in Twin Falls at 731-2495 or Russ in Burley at 431-7175. And they're looking for full and part-time positions. Retired folks are looking, they're looking for too, and they'll work around your schedule, whatever works best for you in your home every night. They got a great vacation plan and benefit program. Holy buckets. You get a hold of Ag Express today. They are looking for drivers. They're looking for you.
That may be a job you're qualified for.
Yeah, I am. Thank you. And right now, already into Kelton's little play box to go ahead and get his little rubber duckies and everything else. Good morning, Kelton Hatch. How are you?
You just grand.
Grand.
Grand. It's man. What more can you ask for? You
turn your microphone. Tip it up just a touch.
You got this stuff for midgets.
Well, if you weren't 6'9" and could slap hands, high fives with Shaquille O'Neal, I'd be a lot better off in here.
It's like, got to get a shorter stool so I'm closer to the mic.
The image isn't good.
No.
So it is beautiful out there.
Oh, it's supposed to be 70 again today.
Yeah.
And it's just like ridiculous.
What's it doing up in the hills?
I'm melting.
Bad.
Big time, yeah.
Big time.
Oh, I think you're going to see some serious water coming out of there. There's a lot of snow up high. And that starts us right off. Because there's so much snow and stuff up there, the BLM didn't open the roads today.
Today was the day.
Today was the day to open all the lower roads on BLM.
Including the ones right up here.
Yep. And they're not, because there is too much moisture on the roads, and they don't want the roads tore up.
I remember, when was it, about 4 or 5 years ago, they had to delay, I think it was till April 1st.
Yeah.
Something like that.
They said this is kind of a day-by-day thing until they see that it is dried out enough. Yeah. But, I mean, it's only affecting...
It's only common sense.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
It is, I mean... How much would you want to have, 100 people driving up and down your driveway if it was wet and muddy?
Yeah, well, it's sometimes, and you've seen the abuse and the stupidity up there, where they just they're mud bogging and turning their big wheels, and then all of a sudden you end up with craters of the moon up there, and it's just common
And then
sense.
You lose small ATVs and
I was in a hole with a flashlight for 3 days before they found me.
And so, but no, I'm sure they'll be getting it open. But it's just gorgeous right now. Things are greening up.
Yeah,
and it's pretty. But
where the deer and the antelope play.
Yeah.
Hey, I know that we have got a lot of things to talk about, but I want to ask you, I'm sure that you're aware that the big story, Fish and Game fees, and everybody, I got to tell you that I'm a little bit, maybe I'm naive. I just don't understand why all the hubbub about this raise in, what is it, about a 20% increase?
Well, for people that don't buy their license every year. So the 20% increase would only affect you, not me.
Okay, but we're talking
in this room.
It's true, but we're talking about maybe $6, $7
at max. Yeah, because it's like
to go all year long.
It's 20% on like a deer tag. I'm trying to remember. I think it's $18, so it's $2.
Okay. And
$4.
And what about fishing?
And a fishing license is 20-something, and so that's another $4.
Okay, well, we're talking really at the max $8.
Well, that's it. And the thing is when we started looking at all the other states, even with the fee increase going through, and it's looking good in the legislature right now, from everything I've been reading.
What's the number one complaint that people throw at you for the fee increase?
Tax increase.
What do you mean? I mean,
they just believe. I mean, it is a tax increase. You're being taxed to go hunting and fishing, and because we receive no general tax fund dollars, the only money Idaho Fish and Game gets to manage Idaho wildlife is money that is brought in from the sales of hunting and fishing licenses.
Right.
We haven't had a fee increase since like 2008. No, it was 2006.
Yeah.
So it's been just about 11 years. And things have got a little more expensive. And I get a lot of complaints. Well, what have you guys done to make things better for me? Well, we're really working. It's not like we're screwing off.
Am I looking at it a wrong way? And I know there's going to be some listeners out in the audience that are going to say, well, Zeb, just because you got all kinds of money doesn't mean I can come up with another $8. Really? 50 cents a month, perhaps more when you kind of divide it out? Come on.
I guess when I look at it, the least expensive part of my hunt, the least expensive part is the hunting and fishing license.
Yeah, I mean, have they gone to a movie lately?
Well, how much did it cost you to fill your pickup up last time?
Pretty close to $100.
Okay, and you burn that in one hunting trip if you drive to Sun Valley to go elk hunting?
Yeah.
That was more than... That's your sportsman's pack.
There you go. We got a caller with a question. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb. It's more of a comment, if I may.
Okay.
For people, I read that in the paper, too, about the hike, and at first I was upset, and then just barely finding out that Idaho Fish and Game doesn't receive any funding from the federal government. You know, I am more willing and more happy to do so. The last thing we want in the state of Idaho is more federal government in any way, shape, or form. And I think for people who want to complain about it, they ought to really look at it. Do we want the federal government in here, or is this a state thing? And this is a state thing, and we need to just support our state and support our wildlife and support the hunters and the fishermen who go out and about and use the great outdoors. You know, we got to pay for the use so we can access it. So, anyway, that's my comment, and I'll let you go.
I appreciate that, young man, and I'll have Kelton respond. Go ahead.
You know, I appreciate that. I do want to clarify one thing. He said we do receive Pittman-Roberts funding and Dingle-Johnson funding. Right. I know those are funny-sounding words, but Pittman-Roberts is an excise tax when you purchase rifles or ammunition, right. And Dingle-Johnson is if you buy fishing poles and fishing equipment. And so they charge a tax depending on how many hunters you have in the state. Then they give that money back. But we receive no general tax fund dollars from the state of Idaho. And so, you know, I know that there's things out there that we're not doing exactly the way people would like to see it done. And I understand that, but I've never seen anything that I get exactly the way I want it unless I'm doing it myself. Yeah. And I'm working on my own place. And so we're really trying to do our best to balance it. The toughest part for me, Zeb, right now is, you know, people expect to see what we had in the 60s in Idaho. Well, when I graduated from high school, there were 700,000 people in the state of Idaho. Now there's 1.7 million people in Idaho. We've gained 1 million people since I graduated from high school.
Right. And so, that's when they still circled the wagons.
Well, it was. I mean, we were still, you know, we had to ride our horses to school.
Yeah,
we actually
9-foot drifts.
Yeah, we didn't have 9-foot drifts, okay. only in June and July.
Barefoot, and didn't put the shoes on until you got to the classroom.
Well, we didn't have shoes. Come on, we had burlap sacks.
Okay.
but no, it's changed a lot. And, you know, part of this, we've got another piece to the fee increase. It's kind of a conservation stamp or however you want, a habitat stamp, and that's for depredation.
Well, now, didn't you say just a few moments ago that this is the first fee increase asked for by the legislature since 2006?
Well, we've asked for it, but we just haven't been able to get
I mean, basically, if it goes through, it'll be the first one in 11 years.
It will.
Okay.
It will be.
So in 11 years' time, and you're talking about a 20% increase of maybe for the per annum license usage of maybe $7 to $8.
Yeah. It's very minimal.
It doesn't pan out for an argument on my side.
But the thing is like I was saying earlier, Zeb, people that buy a hunting license, the way this feedlot works, what we're doing, and I know it's a little bit confusing if you haven't looked at the write-up on it. A feedlot means is like, if I buy my hunting license this year,
every year,
and I buy it next year, I'm going to pay the exact same amount that I paid this year
because you're an annual customer.
I'm an annual customer. The only people that are going to see the fee increase
are the new ones.
Are the ones that don't buy one this year and then buy one next year, or they don't buy one next year and they buy one the year after.
But now, question right there. If, and I'm going to, buy a license this year and buy it again next year, does that fee lock stay at the initial purchase of what I bought this year?
For the next 5 years,
That's
it's guaranteed.
What I thought. Guaranteed lock.
It's guaranteed lock.
Right.
And if it works out the way we're hoping it does, the reason this whole thing came, there's a thing called churn. Hunters it was really interesting to me because I thought everybody bought a hunting and fishing license every year.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like, well, Christmas, Merry Christmas, there's my hunting and fishing license. I've had one every year of my life that I've lived in Idaho. Not everybody does that. Only 30% of our sportsmen do that. So if we can pick up like 1 to 2% of that, 70% that actually starts buying their license every year,
right,
it will increase our fees by almost $2 million, our income. So we won't ever need to have a fee increase for everybody, but if we can get 10% more of the people to buy a hunting and fishing license every year and support Idaho's wildlife.
Okay, now let's go back to the basics, and let me ask a question that maybe many in the audience don't know and they want to ask. Where does the money go?
Basically to run programs. I mean, this year I will be taking, in the Magic Valley alone, I take 2,600 kids fishing.
Okay.
That helps pay for that. The aerial surveys that we did down south, and I'm going to talk about those on our big game animals. In the years since I've been here, when I first started, it was about $300 to $400 an hour a helicopter ran. Now we're at $1,000 an hour to fly a helicopter to be able to count deer. So, yeah, our data is we're really having to be very conservative on the areas we fly. People get mad. Well, you only flew 54 once every 5 years. Well, we can only afford to fly 54 once every 5 years because of the amount that it costs. We put 60 hours in down there flying 54 and 55 in the helicopter. Well, that's $60,000.
Yeah. Wow.
That's just for the rental of the ship.
Do you feel that, I want to phrase this correctly, you and I are getting way too serious, and you and I are on the same page today? This is scary.
Well, yeah. Anytime I'm near a page with you, it's
I know. No. Well, look out. But do you feel that the fishing game, in general, has not maybe provided the coffee shop conference to the users and purchasers so that they really understand what's going on?
Do
you understand what
I do? The hardest thing that it's for me to do, and the reason I come to the show every time, other than just to banter wits with you, is hopefully...
Yeah, but you've lost every match.
is hopefully get the information out there. My job is information education for the Magic Valley, and I'm doing terrible. Because when I have a sportsman's meeting, at our big game meeting, I had 2 people show up in Burley. Had 2 people for moose, sheep, and goat show up at a meeting.
Why are you taking the blame upon your shoulders when we're looking at a society today in all aspects that doesn't want to take the time or the personal responsibility to get involved?
Evidently, I'm not getting them fired up enough. I guess the thing is, if there's something that I'm passionate about, that I care about, and I don't know whether it's a change in society or what's going on, but we're having a rougher time finding hunter ed instructors. We're having people that are volunteering time. Most of them want to just sit back and complain instead of getting involved in it.
Isn't that indicative of what's going on in the job sources today? Employers can't find people to go to work. There's jobs out there, but they don't want to work. It's the same principle.
It is, and it gets frustrating to me in some of this because there's so much that we really. We need input in. We did better on the deer, elk, and antelope meetings. We had like 25 or 30 people over in Burley that showed up to that. You're
not offering the right kind of donuts.
Well, we don't take donuts because we haven't had a fee increase in 11 years. No, I jest. But, and I'll be the first to admit, we are not perfect by any means. I mean, we have problems.
Now you tell me.
No, we have issues that we deal with. Yeah, there's some things that we shouldn't have done the way we've done them.
That's an honest appraisal. I appreciate that.
I'll be the first to admit where I'm not perfect, and there's times that I should. But
has your wife figured this out?
Okay, she's the one who informed me of it, so that I knew about it. But. I promise you, we do the best with the information that we have, and our information. We just need to get information from people.
We have got a litany of things to cover, and we're going to have to shotgun these real quick. Commission meeting this week. Give me short information on these so we can catch up.
I would like, if people have a complaint or issue right now with the department, we actually have a public hearing tonight at 7 p.m. in Boise for our commission. Every other month or every month we have a commission meeting. If there's an issue that you want to address the commission with, we try to bounce these around the state. Boise's one of the hot spots because that's where headquarters is. But that starts at 7 p.m. tonight. You can go in and testify on anything. I know that we've got a lot of people that are concerned about antler hunting, shed hunting this year because every other state has a shed season, and we've got people from Utah, Wyoming.
You're really being articulate when you say that.
Yeah. Well, they're showing up in Idaho to hunt sheds, not the barns you got out back, antlers that fall off their head. And so, and then tomorrow all day that we're going to, from starting at 8 a.m., they're going to have the meeting, but it's going to talk about big game seasons, and it's going to talk about the upcoming Chinook season, and so we'll be setting our big game seasons from the big game meetings we just had.
Okay, that's tonight.
That's tonight, or tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night in Boise.
Well, tomorrow all day, and tonight is the public hearing.
Okay.
And that's at the Walnut building, so if you have an interest in going to that, run up.
Where building?
Walnut, 600 South Walnut. That's our Fish and Game headquarters in Boise.
Give me a landmark.
The Ram.
Oh, okay. I know where it is.
I knew you'd know where bar was. It's on the corner.
Some things never change. Okay. Hey, I got to get a commercial in here. Folks, really, I am so blessed to have these folks on my program. The Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert. Locally owned and operated, and the only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Minicash area. They really care, and they're very able to provide one-on-one care, and they urge you to try to come by, visit their facility anytime for tours, and just check them out. They make every effort to make Autumn Haven the best place. Don't forget Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. Call them, ask questions, 436-3200. They're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center in Rupert. Okay, comments on migratory birds needed.
And I'll make this short and sweet. Go to fishandgame.idaho.gov. Click on public comments. We have a window for what our hunting season typically is, days for waterfowl seasons, how many days we can use.
Okay.
We were looking for comments on sandhill cranes, and we're looking for comments on crows and doves. Go online, fill out the questionnaire, get us the information so we can get ready to set up our seasons for those for the next year.
Okay, and what's the deadline?
Well, let's look here. Proposals for 17-18 season. It's around. Where's the deadline? The comments have to be in by March 24th.
So that's coming up next week.
And then we'll finalize it on April 11th. And so you can go online, call the regional office if you have it.
324-4359.
Talk to Jake Powell or Daryl Mites.
I've got that etched in my mind.
You do.
Yeah. Deer counts, how are we doing?
You know, this is some good news, boys. We flew 54 and 55. The last time we flew it was 09. In 09 and 54, we counted 5,069 deer. This year we counted 6,331 deer. So about 1,300. And for the smaller areas that we're flying, it's actually a really good increase.
Now that's along with also an increase in elk and moose.
Yes.
Wow, there's a lot of wild ones up there.
There is, and we're still counting up the moose. And I mean, we had one day I think they saw 23 different moose over in 55. And so
23 different moose. Now the way you phrase that, naturally each moose is different.
Well, it is, and their personalities are too. No, in different locations. People always go, well, yeah, you guys just fly in circles and count the same one street. No, we don't.
On.
So, but
that never happens.
No, we try not to. And then in 55, we also had an increase, not as dramatic. It went from 3,800 to a little over 4,000. But we really feel that the numbers will reflect 54 to 55. We should have had just as good as growth over there. We're wondering, we picked up some big herds of deer this winter down in ag fields. once again, the farmers were helping us out this winter, and we had a lot of deer down in those lower ag fields. And so,
one thing I didn't ask you about, sure, the deer counts are way up, elk and moose up, but then also, what about the old antelope?
You know, pronghorn, we'll be doing the pronghorn counts later in June. But everything that we see, I'm actually starting to do...
so the habitat must be getting really a lot better.
Well...
They wouldn't be here if they couldn't eat.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to see how things change and evolve. I mean, this fire, how many years ago was that fire?
5.
5 years ago. It's amazing how much smaller sagebrush has actually moved back into a lot of those fields up there.
Really?
And the grass is good, and so the deer the elk are doing well, the pronghorn are doing well.
Where the deer and the antelope play.
Yeah. In Idaho, right here.
Yeah.
But no, things are looking really good. We had good winter. We had very low mortality up there in the South Hills. We had more mortality up north.
Up north, still winter.
It is. But like I said last time, the rump fat on our does up here was at an all-time high. Our fawn weights were at an all-time high, one of the highest we've had. And we had really good survival in the South Hills this last year.
Really?
All have crossed, 54, 55, and 56.
And real quick, we got a break here in a minute, but things are not all rosy and really good up in eastern Idaho, where they're having a lot of starving.
Well, it is. I mean... we're going to have more animals die this month than we've had all winter.
Up there.
Up north, eastern Idaho, and some of these places where critters were stressed. We'll have more mortality in 54 and 55.
Huge snowpack.
It is. But the thing is interesting, once these animals have kind of gone through this winter, I mean, they do it every year. Their bodies, they've evolved doing this, for hundreds of years. They eat brush and have very low forage, and then we have green up, and the green up comes on hot and heavy.
Ooh.
Well, we get some scours.
Yeah.
When they hit that, and so we'll have higher mortality. The ones that are close to the threshold of dying go.
That's like you going through an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Yeah, well, I sweat at buffets. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I know you do too, Zeb.
Oh yeah. Hey, we already. Okay, we already talked about the South Hills Road still being closed, and it's going to be kind of on a will call day-by-day basis.
It
right?
is.
Okay.
It is. You just envision that. Hey, this isn't very professional here. Come on.
Yeah, we got to clean up our act. You got a broom? Anyway, we don't have time to talk about the sage grouse right now, so what we're going to do is say we'll be back in a few minutes. We're going to turn it over to Wheels. We'll be back in about 3 minutes, and we'll kind of stagger through the buffet line. Stand by.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Once again, a reminder to all the businesses in this area, get your booth space registered now for the Southern Idaho Women's Expo, going to be April 13th at the Best Western Burley Inn, sponsored by the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, Idaho Central Credit Union, and Idaho Housing and Finance. Don't forget April 13th. Businesses, this is a great place for you to advertise and promote your business. 679-4793. The Southern Idaho Women's Expo, April 13th. And now, back after we have had a complete discussion on buffet lines, here's Kelton.
Something that we're both experts at.
Up to a point.
Up to a point.
Up to a point. Sage grouse begin the spring dance.
The spring dance.
They're dancing.
The boys are looking for girls.
Michael Jackson.
No, not quite.
That's the wrong analogy.
Yeah. I don't even like that.
That's a bad analogy.
And so, no, the sage grouse are starting to hit their legs pretty hard right now.
Hit the leg.
Hit the leg. And what they do is they puff up their chest and kind of strut around.
Just like a high school dance.
Exactly, pretty much.
Pretty much.
And then it's that time of year, so you're going to see folks, Fish and Game will be out. We try to check on about 500-600 leks, and we go to them 4 times each.
And these are basically used every year?
They are. Sometimes they'll move 100. I had a couple last year that moved the leks that moved almost a quarter of a mile.
Here a lek, there a lek, everywhere a lek.
So you go out and you just shut the motor off and you listen.
Listen for the music.
You listen for the soft jazz.
Where they play a lot of 60s and 70s, or
it's more like a.
Do that again. Are you getting sick on me?
Yeah, pretty much.
You've been to the buffet.
I have. They do a lot of popping and
popping.
Well, it's kind of a gulping sound that they.
Now
make.
it's gulping.
Well, it's kind of hard to explain.
Have you ever been a sound effects artist?
I have not. But they'll be out there, and so we're going to be out. And if you haven't had the opportunity to see it,
I have not.
You haven't?
You haven't come by and picked me up.
You have to work in the mornings.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not working every morning.
Oh,
of course, there's very few mornings that you work, so how are we going to coordinate this?
One of these days, I'll drag you out.
One of these. There was a record recorded with those things.
Dragging you out there.
Let's go to the lek.
Go to the lek. But no, it's pretty interesting.
How close can you get before you scare them away?
You know, it just depends on the lek. And in all seriousness, because I've had some that you'll park, and it depends on how hot and heavy they are in breeding season.
Hot and heavy.
Yeah. You know what I'm meaning.
I do.
And so, because sometimes you'll park, and if there's a gal visiting the lek.
Now, wait a minute. We want to say a female bird.
Female bird.
Yeah, visiting the lek. How do the male birds that are in the lek, how do they know if the females are going to be there? I mean, is it kind of like going to
they just dance until somebody shows up. They're trying.
Really?
They do. Early in the year, you don't ever hardly see females at the lek, and then. What
do they do? How do they call each other to say, let's have a night out and go to the lek?
Yep. They sit there and they make that popping sound.
They can hear that?
They can.
The females?
Yep. And then they typically are in a big open area.
Big open area.
So there's not a lot of sagebrush, so they can be seen from quite a distance. There's actually quite a bit of mortality from raptors on these. Not quite a bit, but there's some mortality.
I would think
raptors.
that a fox could have a buffet.
Well, they have a rough time catching them. They're not quite that crazy. I mean,
really?
they'll fly off.
So these guys, or I should say these male sage grouse, they're just basically going out on the dance floor at the lek and hoping that a female will see them dancing.
Not unlike you in high school.
There are quite a bit of similarities there.
That, yes,
Okay.
Yes. And they'll do this for the next month and a half.
Really?
And
they dance every night for a month and a half?
Every morning. They start at pre-dawn.
Pre-dawn.
And they'll go until...
What a bar tab.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, it's morning, so they're not quite as thirsty, I guess. But they go till about 8:30, 9 o'clock, sometimes a little bit later if it's overcast.
So when their lady shows up to the lek and they kind of look at each other and go off, then that dude's done dancing.
Yeah, not for very long. Okay. And so
this has really been a highlighted conversation.
It is. But it's pretty interesting. Sharp-tail are also dancing. Sharp-tail are really cool. Sharp-tailed grouse.
I'll bet they are.
Well, it is because they do a little stomping dance.
Stomping dance.
And it's more like zzz.
I wish that you folks at home could see the 6'4" Fish and Game representative going
trying to do the dance. But if you've never seen it, go online, Google it. Google sharp-tailed grouse dance or lek dance.
Lek dance.
Or sage grouse lek dance. And it's actually pretty cool to be able to see. And it'll give you an idea where to look for them. Great time of year. I mean, Saturday's supposed to be a grand day.
Yeah. At the lek.
At the lek. Well, it's just supposed to be a grand day for all of us because it's going to be in the 70s. As long as, if the wind's blowing or it's raining, don't go out and try to find them.
Yeah.
But
where do you look? I mean, where is if you've never been out lek looking, where do you look?
What I do is to find new leks and stuff like that, I'll just drive to the top of a hill. Sagebrush hill.
Yeah.
And lower elevations because you don't want to be in the snow.
Like right up here.
Like right up there. And then I'll shut off the truck and just listen.
And you'll hear
for
again.
That popping sound.
And the
nope.
No, not that.
There's not a lot of Sharpies over here. You have to go across 84 over there out of, closer to, Sublette Reservoir and all those CRP fields down across there.
It crosses my mind that after the public's listening to this program, then they wonder why you want financing, more fee increase.
Well, yeah. But
anyhow,
I understand that. But we do try.
It would be interesting to see.
But and the reason people, there is a biological reason why we do this, because we've been doing this for the last 40 plus years, and it gives us a number. It helps us monitor the sage grouse and sharptail population, because the number of males on each of these leks, like for the last 3 years, we've had an increase of the number of males that have been attending the leks. So that means that we have higher populations of sage grouse out there, and so we try to monitor these in order to get kind of a temperature of how the sage grouse are doing.
So we're going to go from Saturday Night Fever at the lek to this phone call. Can you bear with me?
I will.
All right. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Everything you wanted to know about sage grouse dancing is right here.
Well, I was after some geese information. Would they ever decide on the geese? They can open this up over here.
You know, we had zero support for opening that up on the river. And I don't think that we're going to have, from the meetings anyway. I haven't looked at the stuff online, but everybody that attended the meeting over there, we had about 23. I guess the thing I look at it was kind of hoping that we could open it up just to give people an opportunity to be able to have a public access, because they can hunt along the edge of the river in the farm fields a half a mile off the river, but then you have to get permission to be able to hunt it. Where the river corridor would have been open, anybody can just go down there and hunt that river corridor because it's got a public access. But I don't, from the stuff that I've read so far, we don't have enough support, and so I guess I'll have to look at the stuff online, and I can tell you a little bit more about that next month.
I was going to say, wasn't it just like from the Burley Bridge east or something?
They just dislike. We didn't have any support at the meeting for any of it being opened.
Really?
All right. Well, sir, I appreciate your call, and thank you very much. God bless you, man.
And
Thanks.
if you are interested in supporting that, or if there's people out there, you can still go online and fill that out, or you can call Daryl Mites at the regional office at
324-4359.
And give him your comments so that we have those.
Okay, he hung up.
That's fine.
I've got to do a quick commercial, and then I want to come back and I want to talk about fishing update. We're running late here on this. Don't forget our friends at Rogge Auction Company. They're going to have a big spring community sale at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds on April 8th, starting at 10 a.m. Get your consignments in now. Talk to them so they can put them on the sale bill. My goodness, yes. Call Ron Rogge at 431-6187 or Cade Rogge at 431-0074. Big, I mean really big, spring community sale at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds, managed by Rogge Auction Company. Get yours consignments in there right now. How's the fishing?
Well, it's pretty interesting.
Why?
Pretty interesting. You know, I think we're going to end up dumping water out of Oakley, Salmon, and Magic.
And along with that comes a lot of fish.
Well, we're concerned about it out of Oakley and salmon a little bit because we have walleye in there, and we do not want walleye to get into the Snake River. And so Doug McGargle's been spending a lot of his time trying to assure that doesn't happen if we
How do you stop it, though?
Well, it depends how they end up diverting the water, and salmon dam's pretty good because the fish, if they go out the spillway, fall 70 to 90 feet.
They could end up in Murtaugh Lake, couldn't they?
Well, that's what our concern is, and we don't want to spread walleye all over the state of Idaho.
Really?
And so
I wouldn't mind having walleye over here. It's better than those old carp.
Well, yeah, then they get down into the Snake River, and then we just have a major predator that's not native to this area that can really disrupt a lot of our fisheries.
Okay.
And so,
all right.
So Doug's been working a lot on that. But, you know, right now, Salmon Falls Creek's about as good as it's going to get this is one of the best times of year to fish. The ice has come off. Those fish are getting hungry and they're feeding, and you can do really well along the shore over there.
Really?
Typically right this time of year, some of the best fishing at Salmon Falls Creek, and so go out and have a little bit of fun there.
Get your license.
Get your license. That way you'll be locked in if this fee increase goes.
That's exactly right.
And
what about?
I would suggest you buy the 3-year license. That way you don't have to remember it every year, and you're locked in.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Even though it's more money out of my pocket initially, it's going to save me the embarrassment of looking at you on that monthly program and saying I forgot.
And I'll just say thank you for your 20%.
There you go.
And then Oster, Hagerman, Osterlates, Hagerman is doing good. Durkee's, Filer, Crystal, and Emerald Lake. We stock that in the fall to after the pelicans leave, and then those fish that haven't been caught by the ice anglers, ice fishermen, are still in there before the pelicans show up, and so get down there and fish emerald, or crystal, or Filer, or Durkee's, or Hagerman's Osters, or any of the other lakes around here.
Okay.
And there's another interesting thing. There's a gentleman. There's a good guy. I'm not going to give out his name, but so people don't harass him. But if you're wanting to help, there's a gentleman that's going in and working on Freedom Park Pond himself.
Where is Freedom Park Pond?
Over by, where the airport in Rupert, Burley.
Oh, yeah.
In that area.
Yeah.
Freedom Park Pond's down there. We've got an issue when we plant fish in there. The cormorants and pelicans come in and clean them all out. So yeah, big time. Like before we can, there's just one little patch of weeds and they all get underneath there, and the kids are having a rough time catching anything in there. And then the cormorants and the pelicans would have them cleaned up really quick. He's trying to deepen the pond. He's getting funding to be able to dig this out and try to put some other stuff around there.
Is he trying to bring in some anti-aircraft guns so they can shoot these pelicans when they come in?
Yeah, I cannot recommend that we do that.
So that would be a no-no.
But he's working on this, and so if anybody's interested in helping, call us at the regional office.
324-4359.
Talk to Dougie McGurgle.
Okay. I want to get into trout in the classroom just a moment, but I got to get a weather forecast on here real quick. And the weather forecast this hour brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657, or go to their website, scarrowmeats.com. Changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Oh, have you heard about these different bacons like buckboard bacon? Leaner and more economical and delicious flavors like lemon, pepper, smokehouse, barbecue, and ranch. Oh, man, eating's good. Breakfast is good with the bacon from Scarrows Meats. There you go.
I do.
All right. And the number to call, 324-7657. Here's the weather.
It's a beautiful day, and we expect spring-like conditions throughout the rest of the week and into the weekend. We are still in that flood watch as well. That has been extended. We are looking at partly cloudy skies for today. Gorgeous. High of 70 for today. Tonight, partly cloudy to a low of 50. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies. Winds are going to be picking up, high of 58. Everything calming down for Thursday night with a low of 37. Partly cloudy, 67 for Friday, and looks like partly to mostly sunny skies, and 70 for Saturday. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, thank you, Gina. And the weather brought to you this hour by Don Scarrow and the crew. Oh, man, you talk about delicious meats, the brats, and all the different items over there. You got to check it out. Changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Trout in the classroom.
I was just saying, we kind of talked about it earlier, but we're underway right now. Got the tanks in the classroom.
Where they actually watch them grow?
They watch them hatch and grow. And then we go back into the classroom and we kind of give them basically what fish need. Kind of an animal husbandry class, what they need to survive and grow.
Yeah.
And in the wild in our hatchery systems. And then we go back, and Bob is actually was dissecting fish, I think, in Burley yesterday with the students.
Really?
And so he's my TIC technician that goes out and gives a lot of the presentations. Got one here in Murtaugh. We got about 2,400 kids that are involved in this program. And then this spring we take them all fishing, but just got her going. And it's really sad. I've mentioned this before on the program about TIC, but how few kids have actually get out and go fishing.
Are you going to be over at Rockies again? Come on, that's a great place to go.
We'll probably have something going on over there this year.
Good. I love to take off and go down and watch all the kids. I loved it that year we went down there, Deanna and I did, on our four-wheelers, and had that one little boy stand right next to me and put the worm and the hook around my ears.
Yeah.
It was a lot of
says
fun.
It looks like a big sucker.
Yeah, there you go. It was.
So,
Hey, what about deer and sage grouse classes?
you know, I brought you a poster.
Oh, you did?
Yep, we've got a wild about.
A wild about.
Mule deer and sage grouse. What it is, it's a continuing education class that we teach to school teachers, so that they know a little bit more about what wildlife need, and they can talk about a little more of this in natural history, their science classes. It's they can get a credit from NNU or BSU for $60. If they give that, and it's $40 for the class. It's a 2-day workshop. We'll actually take them all out to a sage-grouse lek and let them watch the sage-grouse dance.
Really?
And then we'll take them up, and after we get done with that, we'll go look at some mule deer and talk about them and what they utilize. And then
I think that would be interesting.
It'll be a fun class.
Yeah.
And so we've got quite a few people signed up. But there's still a little bit of room left. If you're interested in this, you can call Lori Adams or email her. Or you can call me at the office, and I'll give you the information.
324-4359.
And just say you want to register, and give us a holler, and we'll get you in the class.
Good deal. Good deal. Now, it says here on the bottom of our list here, planting projects.
Yes, we've got a bunch of sagebrush, or not, bitterbrush planting. Actually, on Saturday, we are going to be in the South Hills.
Oh, boy.
We're going to be right down here.
It's going to be a nice day.
It is. It's going to be phenomenal. If you're interested in, it's right down here at Buckhorn. We're going to be down at Buckhorn planting some bitterbrush up there from where that big fire was.
Yep.
There's some of the areas that were really burnt really hot, and all the brush was removed from the area. And so we go back in there and we put these plants in. We get a lot of volunteers. If you've got a scout group, you've got a 4-H group, you've got some organization that needs a project, Saturday the 18th, call Tanner Ray Alberti or Brad Lowe at
324-4359.
And go out and give back a little bit.
Now, are you going to provide, like, steak dinner for lunch or anything?
Nope.
Oh.
We haven't got the fee increase. No.
Besides that, you spent all your money on the buffet.
On the buffet, yeah.
There you go.
And so,
but that's this Saturday.
This Saturday.
Starting at?
We'll probably get kicked off around 8:30, 9 o'clock. Okay. But call them and so they can get you on the list so they know how many people are coming.
Okay. You know what? I didn't think we'd get through that this quick, and we're almost done.
We are.
Yeah.
But, we sped. Lucky you didn't get a citation.
I am absolutely interested in going out and watching those sage grouse.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. And that's the thing that's interesting to me. A lot of the old cowboys and these ranchers that are out there, they know where the leks are. They've been out there. Yeah, they're out there moving cattle all the time. But it seems like even though there's a lot of folks that have lived here all their life that if they don't spend a lot of time in the hills in the spring have never seen that. And you have to get up there early. You see, usually, like I run a lek route down at Juniper.
Yeah.
So I leave at about 5 in the morning. 4:30, 5 o'clock, so I can get down there right at daylight and go hit those different leks.
I had a person, I almost forgot to ask you this, and a person asked me this question the other day and said, when Kelton's on the next time, ask him this. This gentleman said, we're new to this area. They came from Pennsylvania, as a matter of fact, and he said, is it like the old days that we have to be very, very careful when we go up in the South Hills or wherever else because of rattlesnakes? You're pausing. You're choking.
I don't know. They don't bother me.
No, but I mean, I have not hardly ever. I've seen maybe 2 up there.
The rattlesnakiest area I've been is Dry Creek.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Is Dry Creek.
I agree with
that. And over in parts of Trapper Creek can have them.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can bump into a snake, anywhere up there. But
I've seen a lot of bull snakes.
Lots and lots and lots of bull snakes. Actually, one of my friend's wives called the other day and said, there's a snake that I accidentally ran over on the road. Are they supposed to be out this early? Yeah, they're starting to come out. They've had a long hibernation. Warm days like this, they're going to come out. They're going to be fairly lethargic.
I told them just use a lot of caution and don't go running through the sagebrush with a pair of tenny runners on.
Well, and that's about as good as you can get. I don't know. I walk around. I'm more concerned about ticks than rattlesnakes.
Oh, yeah. Now, you know something? That's a good question, though, quickly, and only give me a short answer on this. Ticks in the springtime, what precautions should be taken?
Wear light clothes. That way you can see them when they're crawling on you.
Really?
I mean, because, I've had as many as 20 to 30 on me in one day.
Wow.
When you're walking up here in the South Hills, you get in some of those willowy spots. All they're looking for is a blood meal so that they can reproduce, and they're hanging on the edge of brush. So when you hit it, and if you kind of keep a visual going, you'll see them on your clothes. But if you've got shirts that don't button up, that are full, that are tight, tuck your waistband in. Some people go as far as
to button your top collar and possibly wear a bandana.
Yeah, or a bandana or something like that. And just to keep them out of getting in your clothes.
What about your ears?
I've never worried. I mean, every one of my kids,
in your scalp. They're hard to see if they're in a person's head.
They are.
Yeah.
And I guess I haven't been the best at it because every one of my kids have had a couple ticks that I've had to get off.
I got to interrupt you because we got a caller, and I'm only going to allow 30 seconds, and then I got to wrap it up with a commercial. Caller, real fast. Go ahead.
Yes, I was just wondering if down in the Waihe Desert, where all that grassy lands are, if the ticks get out in the grass, or do they stay more in the sagebrush area?
You can pick them up in the grass anywhere there's any type of biomass that they can hang on to, because all they're doing is they grab a hold of that the grass with their back legs and stick their legs out and just grab onto whoever walks by. Typically a little more in the brush, but you can pick them up in grass.
I got to run, Doug. I hate to be rude to you, buddy, but I'm late. And when you're talking biomass, you're talking big with Kelton. Anyway, right now, let's also talk about our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations doing the right thing matters, and they've got a huge spring tire sale going on right now. For your cars, your pickups, your SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers, that is the place to go for all your tires to have safe driving for this spring and summer, along with the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, but always I go back to the best in service. They really take care of you. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. Big spring tire sale at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see them today. Kelton, we're done.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Adios, amigo, and we'll see you next month, tax month, April.
Sounds great.
No, it doesn't. Have a good one, my friend.
You too.
We're going to wrap it up and say, tune in tomorrow morning, 8:06, Zeb at the Ranch, the way things were, the way things ought to be. God bless you and your family. See you tomorrow morning.